God save the king.
He's a tyrant.
Why would you say something like that?
He taxes us relentlessly. He massacres our citizens, and he gives us no representation. The social contract states that the citizen should be in charge of the government, not the other way around.
The citizen has no ability to account for the will of the people and the general will of all people, like a king could.
The general will of all people is that they should be down with the king.
The king holds our people together. To reject the empire that has been so kind to us, to wish to leave the greatest empire in the world, is surely not only an act of treason, but a folly.
The kingdom that has been so kind by invading two of our cities and burning our supplies and locking down our most prominent harbor.
Only after citizens in Boston and the rest of the rebellious colony of Massachusetts violently attacked fellow colonists, and this has been happening all over. The radical group, the Sons of Liberty, have been tarring and feathering their own countrymen, their peers in this world, and you call for those ideas of old France, talking about freedom and the rights of individual citizens, when you take your own countrymen and will tar them, feather them, beat them to a bloody pulp.
The colonists only started being violent after the king's arrogance to the whole situation. The colonists would have never gotten violent if it wasn't for the ignoration by the king of all of our ultimatums, all of our offers, all of our deals. Everything has been ignored by the king, and thus the colonists have no choice but to turn to violence. And the violence on our own ranks is to ensure that people like you do not take hold and corrupt this country.
The king should not have to accept ultimatums from his colonists, his imperial subjects. The parliament is a well-structured, morally good government system, and it is ultimately, objectively wrong to rebel against it, especially after we've gotten such great deals in terms of trade and protection from the British. Would you remember, not a few decades ago, when we were gripped with war with the French and the Indians, the British were the ones who came in to protect our lives.
Those British who claim protected us are now the ones that are invading our country. And that parliament you speak of that's an almighty power is controlled by the people. Doesn't control the people. The social contract, the government is made by the people.
What country are you talking about? We are a subjugated area of Great Britain, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Scotland. We are a colony. Our purpose is to serve the crown.
The crown isn't serving their citizens.
The crown is not serving its citizens. Are you to say to me that the idea of a king, divinely chosen for his position, was to serve the people?
The king wasn't divinely chosen. He was put there because he was born into royalty.
Points, my good sir. However, I do think it is rather unproductive to argue here on the street. Would you accompany me to the town square where we might repose and have a bit more thought in our discussion?
I suppose I could entertain you with a trip to the town square, if you so desire.
So you propose a complete overthrow of the British rule and the rule of the crown. I would have you look back to the Jacobites, the supporters of James II before William and Mary took over with their good joint rule. Look at their rebellion. It ended poorly for them, and traitors are hanged. Why would you not go with a more middle-of-the-road position? Why would you be so radical?
Well, the problem with the Jacobites was that they tried to replace an oppressive ruler with another oppressive ruler, so their revolution failed. We're trying to replace the oppressive ruler with the democracy of the people.
I worry that such a government simply wouldn't come to be. A British man cannot buy 2 crates of tea without fearing for his home and for his family and friends, himself being tarred, feathered, and beaten, or his home destroyed by patriots such as yourself. What if these people come into power? I fear that a government without the steadfast rule of the British Crown would be subject to corruption and chaos.
Well, the thing with our government is that every person would have a say in the government, so it could never theoretically become corrupt, because everyone would be able to choose who was in power.
But people disagree. Everyone can't choose, just as many people don't choose the parliament representative that we have in the British government.
That's because the parliament is chosen by power and wealth, and it's not something voted for democratically.
I suppose that is a fine point. However, I think that it's so radical to get rid of the rule of the British Empire, such a powerful empire that we were all subject to. We are all Britons at heart. We have British family. I have British commerce partners and business partners. The trade opportunities we've been given by this country has been fantastic. And why would we want to separate from our ancestral roots?
Well, I think it's because the British haven't listened to us, and they've treated us more like slaves than citizens, and we haven't really been, they're not really our ancestors, they're just our rulers now. We don't feel any loyalty to the British any longer.
You keep calling His Majesty the King and our government the British. What do you consider yourself? I am a colonist, born and raised, but I am still an Englishman, British man.
Well, I would consider myself a citizen of the newly formed United States of America.
I fear your position is just too radical for me. I shall remain loyal to the King and hope that such rebellion is put down, that perhaps if we were to become independent, it could be by more organic means. I worry too much. I think we must agree to disagree.
That we will. Good luck on your endeavors.
Good luck.